Hey YouTube, it's my guy Mike 1. Tonight, I just got back from Mexico, so I'm pretty mellowed out, tired, and this is a video response of Paige Martin's top 5 Pink Floyd album video. I'm gonna redo my top 5 Pink Floyd video because I'm not a fan of the way it was, because I did a quick one and I look pretty messy. This time I have a Pink Floyd shirt on and I'm in a Pink Floyd mood, so why not? In the background, I'm playing Dark Side of the Moon on vinyl. Let me turn up a little bit. Which is actually one of my recent pickups. So I guess I can show you 2 recent pickups. I have Dark Side of the Moon on vinyl, my first Pink Floyd vinyl, so that's cool. And I have a copy of Rolling Stone's Exile on Main Street on vinyl. It's a record club copy of that. But I'm not talking about Rolling Stones, talking about Pink Floyd. Love the Stones, but talking about Pink Floyd. This top 5 is going to be solid this time. Unlike the last one where I kept blabbering about The Wall or Wish You Were Here going to be my favorite. This time I picked my favorite. It's going to stay my favorite, so... First, and plus, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. I'm such a fan that I made my own Pink Floyd album. This is Wish You Were Behind the Dark Side of the Wall. But this is just outtakes and stuff like... See, there's the track list on it, but... This is not a Pink Floyd album. This is something I made up because I felt like it. I don't feel like buying compilations. And so, when I have all the material on CD and on vinyl, I'll just grab a vinyl. Alright. Now, my top 5 Pink Floyd albums, it's hard because Pink Floyd is an amazing rock band. They're my favorite prog rock band. And here is my top 5 Pink Floyd albums. I'm going to be doing honorable mentions before number 1, so as you can see, Dark Side of the Moon's rolling. Let's go. Let's go. First up, number 5. Number 5 is Animals. Animals is a great concept album, great prog rock album. This was released after Wish You Were Here. It had a really good tour following after this. Became really popular. Funny story about this album, I used to not like this album. Like I said in the video I did, I used to not like this album. I thought it was kind of weird, but then when I listened to it last year, I started liking it again. Love the track list on this album. Pigs on the Wings, part 1 and 2 are great. 3 different ones, Dogs and Sheep, they're great songs. But if I had to pick out of all the songs in the album, is Sheep. I love that song. Synthesizer, awesomeness. Roger Waters singing. Roger Waters is a great singer. He can put a good performance. See, these are all gonna be CDs. I don't have them on vinyl except for Dark Side of the Moon. I don't feel like grabbing my dad's first pressing copies of them down here. I don't feel like doing that. They're all the way up in his office. Not worth it, but I have them on CD, which is just as good as vinyl, but not as collectible. But yeah, I guess I can show you the booklets real quick. They have like artwork from the album sleeves and the lyrics sheet. I love Animals. It's a great synthesizer album. Definitely one of Pink Floyd's best. It's number 5 because a lot of people chart this up, so I decided to put it number 5. Number 4 is their very first prog rock album, Metal. This predates Dark Side of the Moon. A lot of people familiar with, oh, is Pink Floyd's first album Dark Side of the Moon? No, they made albums before Dark Side of the Moon, boy. So yeah, I picked Metal as number 4. The whole album all the way through is fantastic. I mean, like, has a great production value behind it. It's a great concept album. It starts kind of psychedelic-ish, and then by the end of it, Echoes, it became more prog rock. And I love their prog rock stuff better than their psychedelic stuff. I like some of their psychedelic stuff, but not as much. I love One of These Days. It's a great instrumental piece. They have the Doctor Who theme song playing in there. You just gotta listen really hard to hear doo 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 doo. gotta hear it in the studio album version. I don't think you can never hear it live or in the Live at Pompeii video either. Pillow Winds is great. Fearless is a great song. San Tropez is pretty good. San Tropez, whatever you pronounce it. Sea Mist, interesting song. It has the sound of the dog sound effects in this album were actually Syd Barrett's dog. It was Syd Barrett's dog. Roger Waters was taking care of the dog at the time. Took it to the studio. Decided, hey guys, let's use Syd Barrett's dog for background. You know, with the harmonica. Oh, that's great, Roger. Let's do that. Sorry, British voice acting. I like speaking like a British guy. And yeah, but Echoes is probably my favorite song on the album. It took out the whole second side of the album on vinyl. My dad has an original American pressing of it, so I love the British cover of this. This is the 2011 remastered version. So it's the artwork is slightly altered, but there's some new stuff added in, like this. Show you the booklet. The original gatefold sleeve is my favorite, though. I love the original gatefold sleeve. Waters, Mason, Gilmour, and Rick Wright, rest in peace. Oh, Pink Floyd's releasing a new album. Can't wait for that. Might be good, might be bad. Who knows? The rest of the booklet's just like the lyrics of the album. It's a really, really great prog rock album. Definitely deserves my number 4 spot. Alright, number 3 is a concept album. Probably the best rock album of all time. Everyone knows about it. The Wall. The Wall, I love this album. It's slightly overplayed a lot on the radio, but it's a really great concept album. I love this concept album. Roger Waters put a lot of effort in this album. Even firing Rick Wright in the production of this album. Man, Roger Waters, man, too much power can get you greed. He went through a lot while making this album. He had a divorce from his wife. He had a nervous breakdown, and that's when the band feuds and Pink Floyd started to happen by this point in time. But other than that, this album is great. It's hard to find on vinyl. I can never find an original pressing of The Wall on vinyl. I can only run into reprints, which I don't want reprints. I want an original pressing, which my dad has a first pressing on vinyl. Love the whole album. Love in the Flesh. I love Another Brick in the Wall. I love all 3 parts of that. Happy Stays Alive is a part of Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Mother's good song. Goodbye Blue Sky's pretty good. Young Lust is good. Hey You is one of my favorite songs. Is there anybody out there? Comfortably Numb is the most famous track in the album. It's constantly overplayed on the radio, but still love it. And Run Like Hell is one of my favorites. Double album. 2 CDs. Perfect. Matches it, in my opinion. Love the artwork in The Wall, too. Love the original artwork for The Wall with the black lettering, not the red lettering in the later reprints, but look at this. That's perfect. Man, made a movie of the same name that followed after. It had a famous tour, and yeah, love this album. My favorite songs in the album is Another Brick in the Wall 1, 2, and 3. I love all 3 songs on there. Hey You is a great song and all, but I love Another Brick in the Wall Parts 1, 2, and 3. I always listen to those songs constantly in this album, so it's The Wall. And I even have a different version of Another Brick in the Wall, all 3 parts together, and Wish You're Behind the Dark Side of the Wall CD I made, so interesting, isn't it? Alright, number 2 is what's playing in the background, Dark Side of the Moon. Dark Side of the Moon is my first Pink Floyd album I've ever listened to. I first heard it in a jukebox radio, and not a jukebox, you know what I'm talking about, you know those radio things that you have in a bar, yeah, it's a jukebox. I was thinking of a boombox, sorry. My dad played it at my aunt's restaurant at the time. I loved the album, and then we played it at home. I loved it even more. Maybe a Pink Floyd fan, a classic rock fan, prog rock fan out there, and inspired me to play guitar. Yeah, this album. David Gilmour's guitar, and It's a great album. It's their first big smash hit. I mean, like, metal did pretty well, and some of the early stuff did pretty decently commercially, but not as much as Dark Side of the Moon. Everyone knows this album. This logo is everywhere. You see, it's on my shirt, it's on my long sleeve shirt in my other video, but dang. My favorite song in here is Time. I love that song. I always listen to Time on vinyl and on CD in my iPod. Love Great Gig in the Sky. Love Money. Love that song. Love the whole album. The whole album is great. Here's the original poster art. I love this album. This is a 1990s pressing of this CD. It's not a. Most of these are the original CDs, which are the best, in my opinion. The reissues from 2011 are okay. Some of them are pretty good, but okay. Now for honorable mentions. Momentary Lapse of Reason. I love that. I love that album. A lot of fans don't like it. It's a post-Waters album. Yes, kind of shoddy, but still it had some good cuts on it, and I like the album. I thought it was underrated. Another underrated one is The Final Cut. I don't think any Pink Floyd fan has ever listened to this one. It's more of a Roger Waters solo album. It's rejected material from The Wall that was supposed to be used for the Wall movie, but the director's like, Roger, we're not using this material. I'm sorry, but we're not. So he decided to just put it in the studio album. I really like the album. A lot of Pink Floyd fans do. I don't like it. I loved it. I love this album to death. The whole thing I love. My favorite song in here is Not Now, John. Oh, my favorite song in Momentary Lapse of Reason is probably Learn to Fly. Oh, but yeah, that's... another... I kind of like this album a little bit more every time I listen to it. This is Piper That Gets It Done, their debut album. The only reason why it's not on my top 5 is because I don't overplay this one that much, because I think Syd Barrett's a good vocalist. He's a decent guitarist, but I think it's constantly too psychedelic for my psychedelic progressive rock love. But I still loved it. I love it in Astronomy Domain and Stellar Overdrive. Paige Martin, I understand this is your favorite. I understand, but it's not my favorite, but I still enjoyed it. Syd Barrett's. This is the only album he really put a lot of effort in, because after this album he kind of left Pink Floyd, departed, but he did do something with their sophomore effort, which is another honorable mention. I love A Saucer Full of Secrets, but it's not on my top 5. But I like it better than most of their earlier material, in my opinion. I love this whole album. I love Let There Be More Lights, really good. Set the Controls Hard to the Sun. Saucer for Secrets are probably the best songs in the album. I don't like my copy that I bought. This is a 2011 reissue, but it's a little beat up. There's a disc for it, and I had an original CD pressing of this, but it broke when I bought it. It had a crack in it, so I sold it for a Led Zeppelin 4 CD. Yeah, this album's pretty good. I like this album a lot. I don't think a few Pink Floyd fans ever really heard it. There's Syd Barrett. Syd Barrett only sang one song in the album, which is Jug Band Blues. Yeah, other than that, he left. He's gone. He went out to the cosmos. I'm sorry. Love this, especially listening to some of this material on the Live at Pompeii movie. It sounds just as good, especially Roger Waters' little going and well, that was in Eugene Has an Axe or something. But yeah, this album's pretty good, but it's not in my top 5. And I don't know why I even brought this. This is the Pulse live CDs, but whatever. This is a post-Roger Waters live album, but has a whole like Dark Side of the Moon remix on there. But here we are, my favorite Pink Floyd's album of all time. Wish You Were Here. I like it better than Dark Side of the Moon. I'm sorry, but I'm more of a fan of Wish You Were Here. I don't have any Wish You Were Here shirts, but I love this album. The reason this is my favorite album, even though Dark Side of the Moon got me into Pink Floyd, it supposedly was my first, but when I was a little kid, my cousin, who was a guitarist in the punk band, Tens and Rabbits, he's pretty good. I recommend his stuff. Even on his cousin. When he was in his learning stages of playing guitar, he played the guitar parts for "Wish You Were Here." He played, well, not back in the '70s. This was before This was before he was even born when this was released. He did a cover of it, and I'm like, wow, this sounds good. And my dad said it was Pink Floyd. I'm like, Pink Floyd? I have to listen to this album, and I love the whole thing. The reason, and plus, I love the whole album. It's about Syd Barrett and the production and the corporation that make Pink Floyd make a successful follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon. So this is what the whole album is pretty much about, and I love the idea of this album, and I love the cover. I always love that cover. I don't have I wish I had a vinyl pressing of this, but I don't. But I love this album. The whole thing all the way through is great. I always listen to this. This was my first Pink Floyd album I ever got on CD. Fire. My favorite song in the album is "Wish You Were Here," the title track. That's the reason why I got into Pink Floyd, is "Wish You Were Here," the song. But I love "Welcome to the Machine" and "Shine On You Crazy Diamonds" are pretty good, but I hear them too much. And "Has Cigars" it's okay, but I'm not a fan of, not the biggest fan. And the artwork, and another reason why I love the artwork, especially this little dude right there about "Wish You Were Here." Looks kind of creepy. But yeah. Hope you're enjoying the Dark Side of the Moon vinyl in the background. But yeah, this is my favorite Pink Floyd album. And for my favorite member of Pink Floyd, it's a hard decision. Nick Mason's a great drummer. Rick Wright's a really good keyboardist. It's hard. Usually it's a tie-up between David Gilmour and Roger Waters. Roger Waters is a great writer for Pink Floyd. He wrote some of the best stuff. He wrote The Wall. He wrote material for Dark Side of the Moon, "Wish You Were Here." He wrote the whole thing of The Wall, Animals, Final Cut. It's a great songwriter, great and pretty decent bassist, but and for David Gilmour, he has some of the best guitar solos of ever. Most like, my favorite member is David Gilmour. David Gilmour, he is a great guitarist. He is really amazing. I still think he's amazing. He just blows my mind how great he can play the guitar. He can just play the shit out of it. I mean, like, I love his guitar work. And that's pretty much it. That's my top 5 Pink Floyd album list. Paige Martin, I hope you enjoyed this redo. So yeah, so bye guys.